The Wellness Show, episode 306. This is your host, Tyson Bannigan, the Luminator, your number one health, wealth, and enlightenment activator. Need some help? Give me a call toll free, 1-866-369-7464. Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. Hi, this is Tyson Bannigan. This is The Wellness Show. Today I'm talking with Joe Polish, and the topic today is how to get unstuck. Who likes being stuck? I don't like being stuck. So a little bit about John. John Polish is an Amazon #1 best-selling author and the founder of the Unstuck Happiness Conferences and the Unstuck Training and Development and how to get unstuck. So here he is, the one and only Unstuck John Polish. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And I want to hear more about your backstory, what you got into this. I understand for lots of people, the big shift comes in their life through some sort of tragedy. And I think that's what happened in your life.
Yeah, it was a series of tragedies, actually. It started in 2008, shortly after getting married, found out I was expecting my first child. Literally about 36 hours later, my mom passed away of a sudden heart attack.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last conversation I had with my mother was to tell her we were having a baby. About 7 months later, my daughter was born with a genetic disorder trisomy 18. She lived for 2 days and passed away from trisomy after just 2 days. Series of other things just kind of led me into a tailspin before I found myself alone and miserable and knew something had to change.
Wow. So how did you get out of that tailspin?
It took about 5 years before I realized I had to do something different. And I started sitting down and writing everything I knew about what it took to be happy. And ironically, I had been studying in about 20 years before, studying what makes people happy. I've gone to a lot of seminars, listened to a lot of speakers, read books about what it meant to be happy. And at the time, I realized that there were a lot of people talking about happiness, and they were all basically saying the same thing, but they were selling different products.
Right. And when push came to shove, you had to discover what happiness really meant and how to get there.
Right. So I looked at kind of what do these all have in common. What I realized was it was really an evaluation of the difference between what you want and what you have in each of these areas. And I literally wrote down everything that I heard, put them on Post-it notes and spread them out on my floor, put them into piles based on what they had in common. And I determined there were really 5 areas of life that we all had expectations in that were affecting our happiness. And 20 years, I actually created a graphing system where I could look at anyone's life on a graph in a couple of minutes, see how happy you are and what areas to change. And I did nothing with it for about 20 years until I needed it for myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were stuck on the unstuckness of happiness.
Yeah. I was always looking for, ways to be happier myself. I really didn't know. And
Interesting. And then that trauma really kicked you. Well, it took another 5 years. So, yeah. So it's interesting how you did all this background preparation for this actual work that you're now doing.
Yeah. And at the time, I was just looking for something that would give me a little boost, I guess, at the time.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about it for many years, and then actually ran across a young guy that needed some help, and I pulled out a napkin and did this graph with him. And after that, I'm like, well, if I can help him, why am I not helping myself? And that's when I sat down and really started writing it out and came up with my first book at that time.
Congratulations. So, and that was the first, was that the one that was the Amazon bestseller?
No, I wrote one before that. Ironically, it was called Finding Your Happiness.
Oh, geez.
Ironic because I wasn't happy. So, but I wrote that for me. That was my own kind of self-searching journey through writing that book. And then after I wrote that book, I realized that all the solutions are useless if we still have these emotions that are holding us back.
Right.
I knew what to do, but when I tried to do it, I got stuck. And that's when I went back and wrote the second book, which was the bestseller, which is 4D Strategies to Living Unstuck, which is really processing your emotions so that the cognitive has a chance to work.
So some clues about how you help people get unstuck, because this is your forte.
Yeah, well, what I realized was the first book was called Finding Your Happiness. The second one was Living Unstuck, because you can't be stuck and happy at the same time.
No.
Yeah. So this one was really going back through and looking at, like, what is it that I need to process in order for me to implement the strategies that will work to make me happier. And so the 4 Ds that I came up with, the first one is deal with your unmet expectations. So every problem in the world is the result of an unmet expectation somewhere. So what is it that I can do to actually deal with those unmet expectations? Because if I'm carrying it around with me, I'm going to stay stuck. So ultimately what I've determined is that if you're unhappy, there's only 2 things you can ever do to be happier. One would be do something different to get what you want. The other would be change what you want.
Right. Or let go of wanting.
Yeah. Well, even if you let go of wanting one thing, you'll find yourself wanting something else. But to really change what it is that you're focused on. Because, like in my case, if I wanted to keep coming home to my daughter every day, which I did,
yeah,
I would have been miserable the rest of my life, because there was no way that was going to happen. So I literally had to sit down and redefine her role in my life and say, okay, I don't want to forget about her, but I can't carry this around with me forever either. So I basically just made her my inspiration for everything I do in business.
Lucky her. That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, I half-heartedly, jokingly say that now every day is take your daughter to work day. Right?
That's nice. So what are most people stuck on?
It's what's almost funny about this is that the major tragedies that we think are what get us stuck, really we tend to do pretty well during those times. It's the day-to-day stuff we get stuck in. And a lot of it is, well, real quick, just to tell you a little bit about the graph and the backgrounds, the reason it works. The 5 different areas that I determine we have expectations in are people, the relationships we have. Second one is responsibilities, which I consider that to be our sense of purpose. We all want to feel like what we're doing is important. Our activities, the things we do for fun, money, and our personal environment. And I say that because one of the reasons why we all get stuck is we get really hyper-focused on one area. So, for example, I'm having money problems. So all I can think about are my money problems. And the real reason I get stuck is because while I'm so focused on my money problems, my relationships start to fall apart, my environment gets cluttered, and we start losing track of what's going on in all the other areas. So I think getting stuck is that when something's wrong in one area, if we don't fix it, it spreads to all the other areas of our lives, and then we find ourselves stuck.
So sort of being stuck in one area is like sort of putting sticking a stick in your spokes in your wheel and just bringing it to a halt.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting, and it makes a perfect sense. So how do you say you have the 5 things that you can get stuck on? So, do you just vary the activities? Like if you feel that you're stuck, you just stop doing what you're doing because you know that if you keep pushing, that you're not going to get stay stuck. So you choose something else. Is that sort of what you do?
That's actually one of the 4 Ds that I talk about. I talk about looking for distractions. In some cases, distractions work. Other cases, they don't. And so what happens if I find myself stuck and I start experiencing an emotion, what I consider a go-to emotion. We all have a go-to emotion. Mine's frustration. So if I start getting frustrated, I ask myself 2 questions. Why do I care about this? And how long am I going to care? So, for example, if I'm stuck in traffic, all of a sudden I start getting frustrated. Why do I care? Well, because I want to get to where I'm going on time, and I like hitting my brakes, I guess, right? How long am I going to care? In an hour from now, I'm not going to care. I'll already be at my destination. So if I'm not going to care about it in an hour, why get frustrated over it now?
Right. You're not going to get there any faster anyway.
Right. So in that case, yeah, I'll look for something different. I'll distract myself. But in other issues, if I ask myself how long am I going to care, and say it's a relationship issue that's going bad, I'm still going to care about the relationship a year from now. So no amount of distraction is going to work. I actually have to sit down and deal with the problem.
Right. You can't, no more avoidance.
Right.
So tell me about the conferences, the happiness conferences on Unstuckness. How did that get going?
You know, I 2015, I went through, I finished writing the book, and I went through the National Speakers Association had a training program. I went through that, and afterwards I thought, I have a good story. And for most of my life, I felt stuck and unhappy. And I started meeting, when I entered the speaking world, I started meeting these people who had these amazing stories. They had every reason in the world to be stuck, but they weren't. They were actually happy and helping other people. And I just thought, what if I can bring the two worlds together? What if my friends who were feeling stuck can hear from my new friends who had every reason to be, but they weren't? And so I had the idea to have a panel of speakers who have all been through some sort of major tragedies or adversity, and do a public seminar and let everyone share their story of what happened, how they got over it, and what they're doing to inspire others. So we did the first one in March of 2016. We've done 6 so far. I have another one coming up in Las Vegas in October. And it's basically between 6 and 10 speakers, and they all do like a series of TED Talks to share what happened to them and how they got over it. They're just incredible, emotional days.
And how do you find the stuck ones who want to come?
Oh, we put out a call for speakers ahead of time, and I usually get 30 people that want to come and share their story, and I have to select the best mix. And then they go tell everybody that they're speaking, and before you know it, we have 80 to 100 people in a room, and just very powerful days. And a lot of times people will show up to hear a friend, but they'll be completely moved by somebody else's story.
So it's all people that have somewhat of a following, and by the fact that you've invited them, their followers want to come, and then they come to listen to their favorite speaker, and as you said, they get motivated or inspired by the whole situation and meet friends and want to come back.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, and then we do a little bit of marketing for it too, and we kind of have our own little fan base, if you will, people that keep coming back to every conference. So they may have showed up to hear a speaker 3 years ago, and they're coming every one since. So
and then, of course, you have clients in this whole area as well, right?
Right. So I looked at what it takes to make people happy and realized that those same people have jobs. So we went and created a training course on motivation and morale based on those 5 areas. So motivation and morale, not just the team building exercises, but what can we do to create a culture at work that will make people more comfortable and improve happiness at work. And then also another course on how to communicate to inspire rather than communication that holds people back.
So you're really working at the group level or the business level or nonprofit level, but a group level, right? Organizational level.
Group level, and we just this week wrote some new coaching programs for some one-on-one individual level.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so in the one-on-one, how's that gonna happen?
The program that I just finished writing is really to take somebody from that point of adversity all the way to an influencer. So we work through, it's a year-long program. We start off by working through the emotions that hold you back, and then move on to another course on finding happiness, so setting your goals and narrowing the gap to achieve your goal. Then we teach you how to share your story. We have a Prepare to Share course there that teaches you how to really craft your message to inspire an audience. Then we talk about all the different avenues, for example, TV, radio, podcasts, like different ways in which you can become an influencer. And then we just coach you through the beginnings of getting that started. So you would basically go from dealing with your adversity to hosting your own radio show or your own podcast or YouTube channel or whatever it is that would influence a mass of people.
That's interesting. So what you're teaching people is your adversity, if you understand it correctly, is your biggest gift.
Right. How can you turn your pain into a positive to inspire others?
I love that. That's really, really, really powerful to people. So all those people out there listening, if you feel stuck, know that being stuck and getting unstuck, you're going to have an incredible story to tell, and that's going to be your gift that you're going to want to deliver to the world. That's the change that you are here to bring about.
Absolutely. And you don't have to be perfect or have it all done.
No.
You can help somebody. There's somebody a little further. You're a little further ahead than somebody else that needs your help right now.
Well, I love it. So I think we've covered some of the big topics that I wanted to talk to you about. But what would you like to say?
Wow. No matter where you're at, just keep moving.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, that's really, no matter where you are, keep moving. And don't stop. If you don't like what's showing up, choose something else.
Right. One of the things I tell people is that if you've ever driven a car and got it stuck in the mud, once you got it out of the mud, chances are you drove the car again, rode perfectly. And that's how we are in our lives too. We get stuck. Once you're unstuck, you can keep moving forward. But at the same time, like everybody that shares at a conference, we've been stuck. We keep moving. But if you look close enough, there's still a little mud on the tires. We're never fully over what's happened to us. We carry scars with us, but we use those to inspire others. And so,
right. So are you going to create a group coaching? I mean, when I think about being stuck in the mud, I think I want 4 or 5 guys to help push the car so I can get unstuck.
Absolutely. Group coaching is a very important part of the process.
Right. So when you do the one-to-one, you're doing it in context with a group that you bring together as well, or?
The one-to-one is just that, it's one-to-one, but we are also implementing a membership program which has the group coaching in it. So there will be a different training each month, a little video with some worksheets each month, along with discussion forum, like a page where you can go in and just chat, basically. And then there will be monthly group coaching sessions along with that. So small groups, 6 to 10 people. Yeah. Kind of a webinar.
So what's your next book?
I've got 2 of them that I'm working on at the moment.
Okay. Do tell it.
Yeah, one of them is actually going to be geared more towards grief specifically.
Yeah.
And how to kind of pick up and move on after grief. So that's the
and
one.
The other one?
The other one is really going to be about the shift from the information age into emotional intelligence, and how reading people's emotions is going to be the key to success in the future.
Well, thank you ever so much for being on the show. I love what you're doing. I like the fact that you can take adversity and put it into, a very high point in people's life so they can move forward. It's very exciting what you're doing. And I encourage everybody listening to the show, check it out. All the links are in the show notes. So how to get hold of John and how to play with them, how to get unstuck. Yeah. Get the mud off your tires.
That's right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye for now.
All righty. Have a great day.
This is your host, Tyson Bannigan, the Luminator, your #1 health, wealth, and enlightenment activator. Need some help? Give me a call toll-free, 1-866-369-7464.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.